So after you have set up your AWS account and the account is up and running, there are very first few things that you want to put in place before you start using your AWS account. The very first thing is to disable, don't let me disable, is to avoid using your root account for your day-to-day activities. The AWS root account is a super powerful account, and it is recommended that you do not use it for your, for your every time activities on AWS. So the first thing you want to do is you want to log out of your AWS root account. The root account is the one with which you created the account with which you create the AWS account. Now, but the question is, if you log out of the root account, how then do you access your AWS account? And this takes us to the stage where you need to create a user. And you can give that user a certain level of permission based on what you want them to do. But this is what I recommend. I would recommend that you create a user and appoint that user or make that user the administrator of your account. So you can give that user an administrator access, which is almost equal to what the root account has, but cannot still do certain things. So, but if you give them that admin account, so that user will now be the administrator of your AWS platform. It is through that account, through that user, that you'll be able to administer every other thing in your AWS account. So the first thing we want to do now is we'll go to our root account, which is the one that we are currently logging, and we are going to enable what we call MFA. It is also recommended that you enable MFA. MFA is multi-factor authentication, and it is good for your account security. So I'm going to head over to my AWS account where we are now, and permit me, I like dark um, background. This one is too bright for my eyes. So I'm going to change this to a dark background, and I'm going to go to the settings button over here, and I'm going to select dark. So I love this, and I'm sure some other people may also like it. So now, having changed this one to the dark background, I'm going to, if you go to the top right here, you will see this is the account information, this is the account ID, and this is the account name here, SPC Technologies. So I'm going to go over to what we call IAM. IAM is Identity and Access Management. Now, it is already here because I have used it. But in your own case, you are not going to see anything here. So you can see it says recently visited. Because I've visited here, that's why you see it here. But in your own case, it's going to be blank. And you can go up here and type IAM. And it's going to come over here. And if you look directly in front of it, there's this little star over here. This little star enable you to ping or to pin this item as a favorite. So it's going to make it possible for you for easy access. So if I select, just look at the top here now. If I select this button, you'll find out that this thing is going to come over here. You can see it. It has been pinned to my favorite tab here. So that the next time if I want to use IAM, I don't have to type it out. So if I click out here now, you can see IAM is already at the top here. Okay, let's assume I want to do something like, let's say I want to do something like EC2. If I type EC2, you can see EC2 is here. If I click on this star, it's going to come over here. so that the next time I don't have to go and search for it again. So let's go to IAM. And the first thing that will greet us here is this red button alert. And it's telling you that what? Your root account must have an MFA. So we are going to enable MFA. And you can enable MFA through different ways. Okay, so let us click on Add MFA. Okay, and it's going to take us which name do you want to give to your enemy. It says device. This name will be used within the identity ARN. So what name can we give to our MFA? Let me just call it SPC, SPC Tech MFA. SPC Tech MFA. Okay, this is what I want to call it. And it's asking which of the device do you want to use. You can use a passkey. You can use this passkey is like your passkey that is in your some of them in your browser. You can use Authenticator app, which is what I'm going to use in this case. You can use an hardware token like your YubiKey and all that. So, but in my own case, I want to use my Authenticator app. And you can see the name. Use the default passkey display name. You can see it's already here. If you want to use this name here, you can just toggle this button. Okay, you can just toggle this button and it's going to use this name. But I don't want to use it. I can just come back here and let me say um, SPC Tech root MFA. Okay, and I'm going to click on Authenticator, and I already have Microsoft Authenticator on my phone. So that's what I'm going to use. I will click on Next, and I'm going to scan this. I'm going to click on this QR code here, and it's going to come up with a QR code which I can scan with my with the authenticator on my phone, and I'll be able to complete the MFA registration. So I will click on this QR code, and I'm going to scan with my phone. Okay, now I've scanned it with my phone, and it's going to come up with a code. So immediately I scan it, it's going to be registered on the authenticator, and it's going to ask me to produce the code that is generated, the two successive code that is generated. So the first code I have here is my 221501, and I'm going to wait another few seconds when that one timed out, and I will do the second one. So I'm waiting it for it's usually on within 10 to 15 seconds. Okay, another one is out, and I'm going to put that one again, and that one is 869277, and I'm going to click on Add MFA. Okay, you can see now it says MFA device assigned. And what does this mean? It means that the next time, if you want to sign into your AWS with your root account, it's going to ask you to provide MFA. Okay, it's going to ask you to provide MFA. Now let's try that. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to click on sign out. So I've signed out of this account now, and I'm going to click on sign in again. Sometimes you may have catch the sign on. I may just go straight into the sign in. I hope it doesn't do that. So let's click on sign in. And okay, this is what I want. And so we need to have the AWS account. I'm afraid I didn't have it. So you just come here and you will click on sign in, use the root email. You can see it at the bottom here because we have the root account. We don't have any user in the account so far. So I'll click on sign in with root user. So it's going to select root user and it's going to ask for the email. And you remember the email we used, which is this email. And I will click on next. And it's going to ask me for password. And I think I've put the password, and I will click on sign in. Now it's asking for MFA. This is because we have enabled MFA. So I'm going to go back to the authenticator, and I'm going to put in the code that has been generated by the MFA that I just added. And I have my code here, and the code is 472264, and I'll click on sign in. And you can see now I'm able to sign in. That means another level, another layer of security has been added to your account. Now, also there are a couple of few things here that you can, change to make your console look fine. So you can come over here and there's something called account color. At the moment, it is gray. This is the color that will show at the top of your AWS account here, just to make it fancy. So I'm going to go ahead now and change it. So I'm going to click on account. I want to change this gray color to another one. I'm going to click on account. Okay. And I'm going to click on account color. Look at it here, account display settings. You click on edit and you click on set, and you can select any of the color that you like. I'm a lover of green color. Okay, so I'm going to take green and I'll click on update, and you can see now here has changed to what? Has changed to green. And then what other thing? Now that we have this, so now let us go and create our administrative user that will be managing our account, because we don't want to work with root account. Okay, root account can be very destructive because it's a very powerful account. So we'll go to IAM. IAM is Identity and Access Management. We'll click on IAM and we are going to create a user. At this stage, I don't want you to bother so much because there are so many things that has to do with it. So let's first go ahead and create a group. Okay, because in the future, maybe you want to create more than one administrator and you want to put them in a group. So let us create um, a group. I will come here and create. I will click on user group and I will click on create group. And I'll call this group administrator. Administrators. Okay. This is our administrator. It means that any member of this group is an administrator to this account. And what am I going to do? If you go down here, it says what? Attach policy. What policy do I want to attach to this group? I want this group to be the administrator of the account. I want them to have administrator access into this account. Okay. So I will just select what? Administrator access. I will go ahead and I will click on create user. So it has created a user group now. So this group now is a group of administrator, and if you click on it, this group has what permission? They have an administrator permission. It means by any member you put into this group, they will have an administrator permission. So the next thing now is I will go and create a user, the user that's going to be managing our account. I will click on create user and I'll call this person SPZ Tech admin. SPZ Tech admin. Because our account is SPZ Technologies account. So I want to call this one SPZ Tech admin. And what type of access do I want? I want this user to be able to access the console. The console is what we are seeing on the screen here. So I'll click on this box, provide user access to AWS console. I will check it. And um, it's asking me for password. You can see here, it said, do you want to auto-generate password or do you want to provide a custom password? I want to provide a custom password. So I will select it and I will provide the password. Okay, I will type in the password. I don't want to show it. And look at this option here. User must create a new password at the next signing. This is very important if you want to do it, so that if you create a user and you give the user their temporary password, it means that when those users log in for the first time into AWS account, it will prompt them to reset their password. Okay, but I don't want to do that because this is just demonstration. I want us to keep the password that we have set here. So I'm not going to check this. If I check this box, that is what will happen. But I'm going to uncheck it, and I will go ahead and click on next. Now I can decide to add this user. I'm going to go ahead and add this user to this group. Or if I like, I can add its own permission to it directly. But of course, it is not easy. it is going to make your IAM management tedious if you are attaching permission to individual user. It is better to manage user through a group. So I'm going to go ahead and add the user to a group. And which group? The administrators that we have just created. So I'll select administrator and I will click on next. There's something called permission boundary. I made a video on it, and maybe you might want to look into it. It's a very interesting one. We are going to still go to get there. So I will click on next, and if you look at everything look good, you go ahead and click on create user. Now the user has been created, and this is the login console for the user. I'm going to copy it. This is the username, and this is the password. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and log in into this user. So now that we have our user created, and this user now has, if you go into, okay, you can say view user, continue. This is the user. If you look at the user now, this is the SPC admin. And what permission does he have? Administrator access, because it is a member of a group called administrator. And that group has what? Administrator permission. So meaning that any user in this group, like this SP Tech admin, will have an administrator access. So after doing this, another thing you want to do is, now let us go back to IAM. You will see something too now. If I go back to IAM and I click, if I log in as this user, you will also prompt me that I need to what? Enable MFA for that user as well. So if I refresh now, you can see this one is showing 0. If I refresh now, it will turn to 1. So we now have one user and one group in our account. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with this user. So I will come here now. I will sign out. I will sign out of this account. Let's copy the account ID because we are going to need it. I will sign out of this account. And I'm going to sign in now, this time with our user. And I will click on sign in. And before we sign in with what? We sign in with root user email. But now we are signing in with an IAM user. We are signing in with our what? IAM user. And what is our account ID? This is our account ID here. I just pasted it, which I copied earlier. And I want you to remember this account, so I check it. And what's our IAM user? SPZ Tech Admin. And what's our password? I'll put the password. I've put the password now, and then I will click on sign in. Now we have signed in into our AWS account. And look at what you notice. Look at the name, SP Tech Admin. Before we log in with what? SP Tech Technology account. But now we are logging with what? SP Tech Admin. Okay. Now, if we come in here, into our IAM, you can see the IAM I have on the other side then was different, because in those IAM, you have all those services that I use attached to the top here. So here now, let us see what we have in our IAM. Maybe you can see this user there. So I will click on IAM and I will add it as a favorite, and I will click on it. And just exactly like what I told you, you can see security recommendation. Root user has MFA. So add MFA for yourself. So we also need to add MFA to this our account for security recommendation. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'll click on add MFA. The same process. I'm going to give it SPZ Tech Admin MFA. SPZ Tech Admin MFA, and I'm going to use my authenticator. I will click next. I will click on this. I will go to the authenticator. I will scan the QR code, and that has been added. And I will go ahead and provide the next two keys. This one is 201612, And I'll come back here again, wait a little seconds and add the next one, 116246. And I'll click on add MFA. You can see it's successfully add now. If I go back to the user now, you will see, and I click on the user, you can see now that our MFA, let me go back to MFA, our IAM, you will see now that the recommendation is now turned green. I say you have what? MFA. It means that the next time we log into this account, it's going to ask us for an MFA before we can log in. So this is the very first. So now you have disabled your root user, and you have successfully reduced the security vulnerability of your account. Now, what other thing can we look at here? If we come here and we go to account, let us see if there are a couple of things that we can do. Okay, yeah. Say you don't have the account, general account administration. Now it says this our admin, despite we gave it an administration account, it doesn't have permission to change to check all this. And what does it say? It says what? You don't have the account what? Get account information and billing. Get seller of record. Blah blah blah. Ask your administrator to add this permission. So it means that we need to add this permission for us to be able to access all this, even though we are not dealing with account policy now. I think it is just important that we know that even though as an admin, you may not have you may not have the permission to access some of these services. So let's just keep it as it is now, and when we come back, we will continue with our um, exploration of our AWS account. So if you click on this button over here before we go, if you click on this button, sorry, this is not what I want. If I click on this place and I click on account, I think that is where we had that issue. Okay, that is it. So I will come back here now. If you come to this grid here, you can see all the AWS services. Under, if you click, you see all services. It's going to show you all the AWS services that we have. There are a lot of them, and they are listed in alphabetical order. So you can check it out. Then you can walk around. This is your cloud cell. It's like a terminal. This is your alert, and this is your settings. At the moment, this is global settings. And I can click here to return to the dashboard. And you can see this is the last thing I access, which is IAM, and it's also pinned over here. Here is access denied, that is, you don't have the permission to check the cost. We need to enable all of this. But I'm trying not to make this video too long. I hope you enjoy what we have done here. We have been able to disuse our root account. We have been able to create an admin account and log in with that admin account. We have enabled MFA to our root account as well as our IAM user. And now we have our AWS account. If you see down here, if you click on view all services, you can see these are all services that are provided by AWS, over 200 services. That is massive. So this is what I try to show you in this video, and we will continue to explore AWS in our subsequent video. I hope you like it, and I will see you in another video. Peace.